The galaxy's Great Council Chamber, a colossal amphitheater teeming with alien species, hummed with anticipation. Holographic projections of distant stars flickered on the walls, and the air was charged with a sense of gravity that came with millennia-old traditions. Delegates from across the cosmos, beings of wildly diverse forms and sizes, filled the tiered seats. Some glowed faintly, their bioluminescent skin casting soft hues. Others were armored in chitin or encased in cybernetic enhancements. All eyes, or equivalent sensory organs, were fixed on the central dais, where a human child stood alone, dwarfed by the towering alien judge whose shadow seemed to consume the space. The child's name was Eli, and though he was small, his presence was striking. His sandy hair was tousled, his face a mixture of defiance and fear, and his hands clenched into fists at his sides. At no more than 8 years old, Eli was an oddity in this setting. Earth's representative had sent him as a symbol, a message to the galaxy, humanity's determination, distilled into its purest form. Yet, to the Great Council, it was nothing short of an insult. The towering judge, a Zivlax named Yrarvoth, loomed over Eli, his elongated limbs tipped with sharp claws. His voice resonated like grinding stones as he addressed the assembly. This child, Yrarvoth spat, his glowing eyes narrowing, represents a species that dares to defy the Council's decrees. Earth has repeatedly refused to surrender its advanced weaponry, relics of a forgotten age. Their defiance threatens the balance of our galaxy. And now, they mock us with this display. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Some delegates, like the insectoid click-tick-tack of the Zarnak swarm, chittered in agreement, their mandibles clicking ominously. Others, like the amphibious Korthak of the water realms, shifted uncomfortably, their gelatinous bodies quivering. A few, including the feline-like representatives from the Lyran Protectorate, seemed intrigued rather than outraged. Eli raised his head. His voice, clear and unwavering, echoed through the chamber. Earth isn't afraid of you. My parents taught me that bullies only have power if you let them scare you. So go ahead. Try to scare me. The room fell silent. Yrarvoth's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile, though it resembled more of a grimace. Brave words, little one. Let us see if your courage holds. With a flick of his clawed hand, Yrarvoth activated a beam of energy. It struck Eli, who crumpled to the floor instantly. Gasps echoed through the chamber. The child didn't move. The act was not just an execution, it was a statement, one that reverberated across the galaxy in real time through live broadcasts. Back on Earth, the transmission was met with collective horror. Humanity had sent Eli as a gesture of goodwill, a testament to their belief in diplomacy and the innocence of their future generations. Now, that gesture lay dead in a pool of light on an alien dais. The broadcast cut off abruptly, but the damage was done. The message was clear: the Great Council did not tolerate defiance. Within the subterranean depths of Earth's last military stronghold, a forgotten chamber came alive for the first time in centuries. Old systems hummed to life as ancient codes, buried deep within Earth's databanks, were unlocked. A council of Earth's leaders, military and civilian, gathered around a holographic table displaying a fleet of ships that hadn't seen the light of day in millennia. Operation Phoenix, murmured General Lian Zhou, her fingers dancing over the controls. The fleet, it's intact. Unbelievable. Not unbelievable, corrected Dr. Malik Singh, an historian and AI specialist. The precursors, our ancestors, built these ships during the Great Collapse. They feared an event like this would come. They've been waiting, dormant, for a signal. President Elena Torres, her face pale but resolute, leaned forward. And what signal did they receive? Dr. Singh hesitated before replying. The death of a human child at the hands of an alien power. The room fell into a heavy silence. General Zhou straightened, her expression hardening. Then we have our answer. Earth will no longer be a footnote in galactic politics. If they want to see what humanity is capable of, let's show them. Miles above the Earth's surface, in orbit where satellites and derelict space stations drifted, the ancient fleet began to stir. These were no ordinary ships, they were leviathans, constructed from a fusion of advanced alloys and technology that had since been lost to time. Each ship was equipped with weapons that defied comprehension, remnants of an era when humanity had nearly destroyed itself in wars of unparalleled scale. Now, these titanic vessels, silent for so long, awaken with purpose. Across the galaxy, news of Eli's death spread like wildfire. On distant worlds, human colonies mourned, their grief mingled with a rising fury. Allies of Earth, though few and far between, watched with apprehension. They knew humanity's history, its capacity for resilience and vengeance. The Lyran Protectorate, who had always maintained a cautious friendship with Earth, sent encrypted messages offering support. Even the enigmatic hive mind of the Fractal Void, a species that communicated through quantum entanglement, reached out with a single chilling sentence: "We grieve with you, they will learn to fear." The Great Council, meanwhile, remained confident in its power. They dismissed Earth's grief as impotent rage. After all, humanity was a minor player in the galactic stage, their influence limited to their own solar system and a handful of colonies. What could they possibly do against the combined might of the Council's fleets? Arvath, however, was not so sure. As the Council's judge, he had seen countless species submit to the Council's will. Yet there was something unsettling about the humans. Their history was filled with contradictions, acts of unparalleled destruction alongside moments of breathtaking compassion. And then there was the look in the child's eyes before his death, a look that seemed to say, "You will regret this." 2 weeks after Eli's execution, Arvath received an urgent message. An unidentified fleet had emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Council territory. The vessels did not match any known design, they were angular, black as void, and bristling with an array of weapons that made even the most seasoned tacticians uneasy. "Human," Arvath muttered, his voice laced with something he hadn't felt in centuries: fear. The alien council chamber was abuzz with tension, its walls vibrating faintly as the voices of thousands of delegates clashed. Species from across the galaxy murmured among themselves in countless tongues, many projecting disbelief, some thinly veiled concern, and others outright disdain. The sight of the human fleet, massive, ancient, and impossibly advanced, looming at the edge of the Council's jurisdiction had rattled even the most steadfast among them. The holographic projection of the fleet shimmered above the Council dais, each vessel displayed in unnerving detail. Their hulls seemed to drink in the light, matte black with faint crimson accents glowing like veins. Weapon systems that had not been seen in eons, even during the galaxy's bloodiest wars, bristled from every surface. Though the humans had made no overtly hostile moves yet, their arrival was no less than a declaration. "Unacceptable," boomed Click-Tick-Tack, the Zarnak Swarm's ambassador, his mandibles clattering furiously. "The humans flaunt their heretical technology in defiance of our laws. They must be annihilated before they bring ruin upon us all." Others, however, were less eager to rush to war. The Quarthak ambassador, his gelatinous form shifting uneasily, bubbled a response. "Perhaps, we underestimated their resolve. Diplomacy may yet." "Enough!" Arvath's voice thundered, silencing the cacophony. The judge's glowing eyes scanned the chamber as he rose from his throne, his spindly frame exuding authority. "Humanity has chosen its path. They believe their relics of destruction can challenge the unity of the Great Council. Let us show them the folly of their arrogance." But even as Arvath issued his commands, sending the Council's combined fleet toward the human invaders, a shadow of doubt gnawed at him. The humans had always been an enigma, desperate and fractious yet capable of stunning ingenuity and ferocity. It wasn't just the fleet itself that unsettled him, it was the methodical, deliberate way it had appeared. It was not the behavior of a desperate species but of one that had planned for this exact moment. On the bridge of the Soul's Wrath, the flagship of humanity's ancient fleet, General Lian Zhou stood with arms crossed, her sharp gaze fixed on the massive holographic display of the incoming Council forces. Beside her, Dr. Malik Singh adjusted his neural interface, his connection to the fleet's advanced AI feeding him data streams in real time. "They're coming," Zhou said, her voice calm but steely. 36 capital ships, hundreds of smaller vessels. Impressive coordination. Dr. Singh gave a grim smile. They don't know what they're walking into. The precursors designed these ships to fight wars that make today's conflicts look like playground squabbles. They have no idea what we're capable of. Zhou turned to the crew, a mix of seasoned veterans and younger officers who had been hastily trained to operate technology far beyond their comprehension. Remember, she said, her voice carrying across the bridge, this is not about revenge. This is about sending a message: humanity will not be trampled. We gave them a chance to respect us, and they killed a child in response. Now, they'll see what happens when you push us too far. The crew nodded in unison, their expressions a mixture of determination and awe at the ship they commanded. The Soul's Wrath was more than a vessel, it was a relic of a time when humanity had danced on the edge of extinction and had built its salvation with blood and fire. As the Council fleet entered firing range, the Soul's Wrath emitted a low, resonant hum. Across the human fleet, weapons powered up, shields flared to life, and advanced targeting systems locked onto enemy vessels. The silence of space was broken by a sudden, deafening burst as the Council fleet opened fire, their energy beams and missile salvos streaking toward the human ships. But the ancient fleet was ready. The Soul's Wrath absorbed the first wave of attacks with its advanced kinetic shields, the impacts rippling harmlessly across its surface. The return volley was swift and devastating. Beams of concentrated plasma lanced out, slicing through Council vessels as though they were paper. Missiles, guided by AI systems millennia ahead of their time, weaved through defensive fire to strike with pinpoint precision. On the Council flagship, Yararvoth watched in horror as the first wave of ships was obliterated. The humans weren't merely fighting, they were dismantling the fleet with terrifying efficiency. This is impossible, he hissed. No species can possess such power and remain hidden. But the humans had remained hidden, and now they were revealing themselves in the most spectacular way imaginable. As the battle raged, the true capabilities of the ancient fleet became apparent. Ships moved with impossible agility for their size, their weaponry adapting mid-combat to counter enemy strategies. Even the Council's most advanced vessels were outmatched, their shields failing under the relentless assault. Back on Earth, President Torres monitored the battle from the war room. The images were both awe-inspiring and sobering. Humanity was winning, but at what cost? These weapons, these ships, they were reminders of a dark past, a time when humanity had nearly destroyed itself. Now, they were being used to secure a future, but the line between defense and annihilation was razor-thin. Madam President, a technician called out, incoming message from the Lyran Protectorate. They're offering to mediate a ceasefire. Torres considered this for a moment. Send a reply. Tell them humanity is open to negotiations, but only after the Council acknowledges their crime. The technician hesitated. And if they refuse? Torres's expression hardened. Then we finish what they started. As the battle reached its climax, the Council fleet began to retreat. Yararvoth, his pride wounded but his survival instincts intact, ordered a full withdrawal. The remnants of the Council's once mighty fleet scattered, leaving the human ships to claim the battlefield. On the bridge of the Soul's Wrath, General Zhou allowed herself a rare smile. They're running. Dr. Singh nodded, his expression more somber. This isn't over. They'll regroup, find allies. We've won this battle, but the war is just beginning. Zhou's smile faded. Then we'll be ready. Humanity didn't ask for this fight, but we'll finish it if we have to. As the human fleet regrouped, preparing to return to Earth, a single message was broadcast to the galaxy: we are humanity. We will not kneel. The galaxy reeled in the aftermath of humanity's decisive victory. News of the Great Council's retreat spread across countless worlds, igniting a mixture of awe, fear, and outrage. In remote systems, where the Council's influence waned, whispers of rebellion grew louder. Species long oppressed by the Council's iron grip began to consider the unthinkable, aligning with humanity. But while the galaxy grappled with the implications of Earth's sudden rise, the Council itself was far from defeated. Deep within the nebular nexus, a hidden fortress of unimaginable scale housed the Council's emergency command center. The nexus, a swirling pocket of turbulent space cloaked in gravitational anomalies, was nearly impossible to navigate without precise knowledge of its intricate pathways. Here, the Council's surviving leaders convened to plan their retaliation. YRR Voth presided over the gathering, his usual arrogance replaced by a simmering fury. "This is an affront to the very order we have maintained for millennia," YRR Voth growled, his claws tapping a jagged rhythm on the polished stone table. "The humans' defiance threatens to unravel everything. We cannot let them stand." Click Tick-Tack, still fuming from the earlier battle, slammed his serrated limb onto the table. "We underestimated their weapons. That fleet is not merely advanced, it is ancient. It carries the wisdom and fury of a dead era. We need stronger measures." From the shadows, an eerie voice chimed in. It belonged to the Rovax ambassador, a liquid-like entity whose form shimmered with a faint bioluminescent glow. "There are options," the Rovax murmured. "The Oblivion Protocol was designed for this exact purpose." The room fell silent. The Oblivion Protocol was a contingency plan so extreme that it had been relegated to legend. It called for the activation of the Council's most devastating weapon, a planet-killer device known as the Starbreaker. Designed to wipe entire civilizations from existence, the Starbreaker had not been used in over 5,000 years. "If we activate the Starbreaker," protested the amphibious Korthak delegate, "we risk alienating every neutral species in the galaxy. Even our allies may turn against us. This is madness." YRR Votha's glowing eyes narrowed. "Madness," he echoed, his voice laced with venom. "The humans have already destroyed the illusion of our invincibility. If we do nothing, we're finished. The Starbreaker will remind the galaxy of the price of defiance." "And if it fails?" a Lyran observer asked cautiously. "What then?" YRR Voth did not answer. He didn't have to. Failure was not an option. Unaware of the Council's desperate plotting, humanity worked feverishly to prepare for the inevitable counterstrike. The ancient fleet had returned to Earth's orbit, where engineers and scientists swarmed the ships, analyzing their systems and repairing minor damages from the battle. Though humanity had emerged victorious, the cost had been significant. The loss of even a single vessel from the fleet, each one an irreplaceable relic, was a blow that could not be ignored. In the war room beneath Earth's surface, General Lien Zhou, Dr. Malik Singh, and President Elena Torres reviewed intelligence reports from allies and spies within the galaxy. The Lyran Protectorate had sent word of growing unrest within the Council's ranks, but there was also troubling news. "The Starbreaker," Dr. Singh said, his voice heavy with dread. "It's not a myth. The Council has it, and if our sources are correct, they're preparing to use it." Zhou frowned, leaning over the holographic display that depicted a vast, ominous superweapon hidden deep within the nebular nexus. "Can our fleet counter it?" "No," Singh admitted, his tone grim. "The Starbreaker isn't just a weapon, it's a system-wide annihilation device. It'll destabilize the sun, turning it into a nova. If they deploy it here, Earth, the fleet, everything in this system will be gone." President Torres's face was pale, but her resolve was unwavering. "Then we have to strike first. Before they can deploy it." "Easier said than done," Zhou countered. "The Nexus is nearly impossible to navigate, and even if we manage to reach it, we'll be walking into a trap." "Not necessarily," Singh said, a spark of hope in his voice. "The Lyran Protectorate has given us the Nexus's navigational codes. And there's more. The Fractal Void Hivemind has offered to disrupt the Council's quantum communications. If we move quickly, we might have a chance." Torres nodded decisively. "Then we move. General, prepare the fleet. Dr. Singh, work with the Lyrans to plot our course. Humanity's survival depends on this." The journey to the nebular nexus was treacherous. Even with the Lyran navigational codes, the fleet's passage was fraught with danger. Rogue gravity wells and swirling storms of cosmic debris tested the skills of every pilot. Smaller escort ships were forced to break formation to navigate the tight corridors of distorted space, while the massive capital ships followed with painstaking precision. On the bridge of the Soul's Wrath, General Zhou monitored the fleet's progress. The ship's AI, an ancient construct known as Helios, assisted with real-time calculations, its calm voice a steady presence amidst the chaos. Approaching the Nexus's outer boundary, Helios announced. Enemy signatures detected. Council ships on intercept course. Battle stations, Zhou ordered. Deploy interceptors. Keep them off the main fleet. The first wave of Council ships descended upon the humans with ferocity. Swarms of agile fighters darted through the turbulent space, their energy weapons lighting up the darkness. But humanity's ancient fleet was ready. Automated turrets swiveled with inhuman precision, cutting down the attackers in waves. Larger human ships unleashed devastating broadsides, their weapons tearing through enemy frigates with ease. As the battle raged, the Soul's Wrath pressed forward, flanked by a vanguard of destroyers. Their objective was clear: reach the heart of the Nexus and destroy the Starbreaker before it could be activated. Inside the Nexus, the Council's defenders fought with desperation. YRR himself commanded the defensive fleet, his usual composure replaced by raw determination. The Council could not afford another defeat, and he would see to it that humanity paid dearly for their audacity. But the humans were relentless. Drawing on the strength of their ancient ships and the cunning of their commanders, they pushed deeper into the Nexus. General Zhou coordinated the assault with ruthless efficiency, exploiting every weakness in the Council's formations. Meanwhile, Dr. Singh and the Lyran advisors worked frantically to decode the Nexus's labyrinthine structure, guiding the fleet toward the Starbreaker. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the Soul's Wrath emerged into a massive chamber at the heart of the Nexus. There, suspended in a web of energy beams, was the Starbreaker. The device was enormous, its core pulsating with a malevolent red light that seemed to thrum in time with the fleet's movements. "We've found it," Zhou said, her voice steely. "Helios, target the Starbreaker. All weapons." "General," Helios warned, "enemy reinforcements inbound. They'll be upon us before we can destroy the target." "Then we'll hold them off," Zhou snapped. "Fire everything we have." The Soul's Wrath unleashed a barrage of firepower unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Plasma lances, kinetic projectiles, and energy beams converged on the Starbreaker, striking its shields with unrelenting force. Around them, the battle intensified as Council ships poured into the chamber, determined to protect their ultimate weapon. The humans fought with everything they had. Fighters and frigates engaged the enemy at point-blank range, while capital ships laid down suppressive fire. The chamber became a maelstrom of destruction, the clash of advanced technologies lighting up the void. As the Starbreaker's shields began to falter, YRR made his move. Piloting a sleek, heavily armed command ship, he dove straight for the Soul's Wrath, his weapons locked onto its vulnerable midsection. Zhou saw him coming and issued a single, chilling command. "Ram him." The Soul's Wrath turned sharply, its massive hull colliding with YRV's ship in a thunderous impact. The collision sent shockwaves through the chamber, disabling nearby vessels on both sides. YRV's ship was torn apart, his last act one of futile rage. With the Council's leader defeated and the Starbreaker's shields down, the humans seized their moment. A final, concentrated volley struck the weapon's core, detonating it in a blinding explosion. The chamber erupted in chaos as the Starbreaker's destruction triggered a chain reaction, destabilizing the Nexus itself. "Retreat," Zhou ordered. "All ships, fall back." The fleet raced to escape the collapsing Nexus, their path illuminated by the fiery remnants of the Council's ultimate weapon. One by one, the human ships emerged from the turbulent space, battered but triumphant. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy had witnessed the fallibility of the Great Council. Humanity had not just survived, it had prevailed. But the cost of victory, and the road ahead, remained uncertain.